is that what they learned was they can bypass the national media and build a following just through internet, social media, internet blogs, build an entire community with podcasts. Joe Rogan is part of that. He's got the #1 podcast in America. I want you to think about something real quick, because this is actually, media-wise, this is a very fascinating moment in our culture. Joe Rogan has the most valuable, quite possibly biggest podcast in the nation right now. Tucker Carlson has the biggest news hour in the history of cable news programming. And what the one thing that those two men share is that they talk plainly. And people are tuning in because they talk plainly. They're not talking down on people. They're not talking about how horribly stupid people are. They're talking plainly. And they're getting the majority of the viewers and listeners. And I think there's a lesson to be learned in that the national media is going to miss. And what's going to happen is it's going to come around and bite them on the butt the way Trump did. Because what did Trump do? He spoke plainly.
Yeah, we like plain-spoken people.
We do. The everyman.
Yeah,
and everybody knows Trump is not an everyman.
No, I know. And I don't know, maybe I'm giving away my intellectual elitism. I am suspicious of people who are plain spoken as an act.
Yeah.
I'm suspicious.
And I'm not saying that Tucker Carlson and Joe Rogan are what we need to aspire to be. What I'm saying is, look at how they're becoming that.
Well, Joe Rogan though asks hard questions, and he does not always reveal his political commitments.
Right.
And he is searching for the truth.
Buddy, when he does, they come after him.
Yeah. But he's searching for, you said it the other day, or today even, he wants to learn.
Yeah.
And that's why he invites people of such radically different perspectives on his show, so he can learn.
He can learn. So he can be smarter.
But I'm not sure that someone like Tucker Carlson is trying to learn.
No, he's not trying to. Well, I don't know. Like I said, there is an obvious ideological sea change that we're seeing with Tucker Carlson right now. He's shifting. He's shifting right in front of our eyes. Yep. And the liberal, and here's the thing about the liberal media, they're going to paint him as, he's still a xenophobe. You're going to hear xenophobe as much as possible from them, because they're going to peg him all because of what he says about immigration. And even when I was watching that monologue that I told you about, he starts off with that. But something interesting happens in that monologue. At the beginning, he sounds like Tucker Carlson. He sounds like everything you hear from the liberal left. But then he gets to the backside of that monologue, and all of a sudden, everything he's saying makes sense. And you have to stop and wonder, and I mentioned this to you, you have to stop and wonder, did he use the xenophobic language at the beginning of his monologue to make sure that his viewers, his normal batch of people, stayed for the end of the monologue? And I would not be surprised, considering that man went to Georgetown.
Yeah.
And learned rhetoric, that's exactly how he constructed it.
He's a master of critical thinking.
He is.
And a lot of them are.
And you have to wonder how much of that xenophobic crap that he gets tagged with he actually believes.
Well, you said something too today that was actually pretty telling. He actually criticizes his own show.
Yeah.
In that segment.
Yeah. He criticized the GOP, the network, and his show, and apologized for doing it. And we're starting to see, and this is not a one-off for Tucker Carlson. I've been seeing this for a few weeks now with different monologues, starting with that monologue that I used on that BetaFiles clip.
When did he find out that his show is the #1 cable news show
in history?
Uh-huh.
Same time we all did with Forbes.
When
the
was
other
that?
day. That was the day before yesterday.
That's what he's aiming for.
Maybe.
But
Well,
in
like
order
I
to-
said, he's shifting gears.
But in order to do it, he's got to reach a moderate audience.
Yeah.
And he's going to have to find a way, like you say, using the xenophobic language about immigration, to keep his far right audience. But he's trying to reach the middle.
Mm-hmm.
He might react positively to this idea that of these two candidates that'll switch places in 4 years. The center right and center left candidate. What's the name of the guy who's pushing for that?
Brett Weinstein.
Brett Weinstein.
Yeah. He was the guy at Evergreen College that got in trouble.
Well, the real test. Oh, that guy.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's him.
Oh.
When he was the one that called out the administration for forcing xenophobia hidden as a Black Lives Matter movement, as a Black Lives Matter thing. He was saying you're actually increasing racism by doing this. And he was right.
Yeah. Because
they wouldn't, in case you don't know, what happened at Evergreen College was that they had a specific day where, they would have different multicultural events for minorities on campus, and white students were not allowed to come to campus that day. And Weinstein said, "This is bullshit. If you're wanting to promote multiculturalism, multidiversity, why aren't you having everybody here?"
Yeah.
And he got fired over it.
Was he tenured?
Yeah.
Oh.
Because they called him a racist.
Oh.
But his point was valid. It's like, you can't have multiculturalism unless you let all the cultures in. You can't shut one group out. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it's problematic.
But the ultra left got involved, and now he's a fellow at Princeton.
Yeah, he's doing okay for himself.
Yeah. He's one of the leading biologists in the world.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to get my hopes up.
Yeah.
Because I'm naturally kind of pessimistic.
Well, I think we're all kind of pessimistic with this.
And there's a part of me that is afraid, and I said this earlier before the show. I am worried about dividing the vote.
Yeah.
But now we're wandering well off target. The reason I mentioned him, though, is I'll be curious to see what these two candidates do with gun reform.
Yeah.
And how media is going to react to their views on gun reform. Because my guess is they're going to create a plank in their platform about gun reform that speaks to most of us.
Yeah.
Except for the far left and the far right. How is media going to handle that when they realize that moderates are watching these programs?
Mm-hmm.
Because they're going to create responsible gun reform. That will be a part of their platform.
Yeah.
The environment will also be a part of their platform.
Yeah.
They're going to have to talk about it.
Yeah. The economy is going to be part of that platform.
Yeah.
And the argument that that Yang always had was, yeah, the economy is doing great, but the reality is there are still people starving.
Yep. What do you do with those?
What do you do with them? And the fact is that they make up the majority.
Yep.
So yeah, the economy is doing wonderful, awesome, but it's only a small group that's actually benefiting from it. Warren had a similar argument, but what Warren's answer was, just tax the rich. Well, that's going to work for the first couple of years. Then what?
Well, the tax code is set up in such a way that it would never work.
Yeah.
I mean, it's geared to protect certain groups.
Well, my argument has always been, you really want, if you want the richest money, if you want the richest people in America's money, don't give them the fucking deductions.
Exactly.
Just, straight. If you make more than this amount of money in this country, you don't get to deduct anything. Yep. Period.
First F-bomb of the show.
Yeah. Well, no, remember, because I said they have to remember that there's an effing middle in this country.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Never mind. So too.
But yeah, if you want to really hurt the rich, take away their deductions. You don't have to increase anything. Just take the deductions away. And then we'll find out who the real philanthropists are.